Hello and welcome once again to the Constitution Study, where we are returning the Constitution to its rightful owners, that is, we the people of the United States of America. I am glad you could join me. My name is Paul Engel, and we are going to do this act. We're going to return the Constitution by actually reading and studying it. What a concept. We're going to study the actual words of the Constitution. If you are new to the Constitution Study, if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm glad you joined us. Hope you'll find it interesting, and I hope whoever pointed you this way will be worthy of a thank you for showing you where you can learn more about your Constitution. Head over to the website, constitutionstudy.com, and check it out. You can check out other podcast episodes. You can check out other articles, and I'm going to ask you to ask a question. Go to the top menu bar, click Ask a Question. Ask me anything you want about the Constitution or about the work that we're doing here. I'll do my best to give you an answer, and hey, if it's a good question, it may even make a podcast episode. So go give it a try. Head over and ask a question. I love questions. I love good questions. If you're a returning visitor, if you've been here before and you found it worthy of your time to come back, thank you. It helps me know that I'm doing the job that needs to be done, that I'm explaining things in a way that's worthy of your time. I'm going to ask you also to head over to the website, comment, ask questions. You can share what you're learning here. I have posts on Facebook. There's a channel on YouTube. I'm even on LinkedIn. If there's another place you'd like me to share, let me know. I'll see if it's something I can handle. Right now, we're doing the best we can. We're doing a lot of work. We're trying to generate some more work with the Constitution Study. I'm trying to set up a couple of speaking engagements. Once they are set, I will post them on the calendar as an event on the website, Constitution Study. You can also there sign up for the mailing list. Get notified of updates of what's planned and what's scheduled, what's going on. I don't spam you. I may send one message out a month unless there's something special. But the nice thing is if you go there today, you will get absolutely free a copy of my latest essay on the Bill of Rights. Absolutely free just for signing up for the mailing list. You can get that essay and any other essays that I have are available on Amazon. I have an Amazon author page and all that fun and games. But I really would, as much as I enjoy you following me and helping with the work that I'm doing here, becoming a part of the team, I am looking for questions. I'm looking for feedback. I have a couple things in the works that I may put information up on the website. Hopefully, if stuff works out, I will let you know. So today, what are we going to talk about today? Today, we're going to talk about treaties. Well, actually, we're going to talk about reasons why we need to be careful about treaties. Treaties are important because according to the Constitution, well, they are part of the supreme law of the land. Article 6, Clause 2 says, this Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. Why is this important? Well, I read an interesting article the other day, one that kind of makes my head burn a little bit. It's an example of why we need to be careful about what treaties we sign and ratify. So I found this article describing a United Nations court order that the U.S. lifts sanctions on Iran. Now stop and think about that for a second. The United Nations, actually a United Nations court, ordering a sovereign nation how to handle its diplomacy, how to handle its foreign affairs, because they're ordering the United States to lift sanctions. Now, okay, there are a lot of issues with an order issued by the International Court of Justice, or the ICJ, but I just want to focus on the constitutional issues here. No, the ICJ is not subject to U.S. Constitution because it's part of the UN. Then again, the United States isn't subject to that court either. And we get back to the issue of supremacy. See, any treaty that gets signed and ratified is on par with the Constitution as far as authority. It is part of the supreme law of the land. Now, there are people that will tell you that this clause means that any treaty made by the president and signed by the Senate is the supreme law of the land. But you read the text, you'll see that only treaties made under the authority of the United States qualify as supreme law. For example, Since the United States does not have the authority to infringe on your right to freedom of religion, speech, or press, they cannot sign a treaty that would. See, that's not within the authority of the United States to do so. They can't do it legally through Congress and the legislative process, nor can they do it legally through the treaty process. It's important that we recognize that whatever the federal government does has to be pursuant to the Constitution. Any federal law has to be pursuant to the Constitution. Any treaty has to be pursuant to the Constitution. It's under that authority, and the Constitution specifies what authorities the federal government, what powers they actually have. They kind of ignore it, and we kind of ignore it too lately, but that's the way it's supposed to be. And if we get back to actually following the law, then maybe some of this nonsense, like people actually caring that the United Nations thinks we should do things a certain way, maybe that'll stop. So if the federal government cannot sign onto a treaty that's outside of the authority to enact, what is so dangerous about this ICJ order? Well, that's a very good question. See, Americans' general ignorance about the Constitution and the blatant subversion of it by both the state and federal governments means there's nothing stopping any president from negotiating and any Senate from ratifying an illegal treaty. In fact, it doesn't even take that much, since some in government treat presidential agreements as if they were treaties, kind of like the Paris Accords. Do you remember all the brouhaha when President Trump said we're backing out of the Paris Accords? You can't do that. You need an act of Congress. No, it's not a treaty. It's not a valid treaty. It was never ratified by the Senate. But our general ignorance means when the president says, oh, we're going to do this because, well, I have the authority to make treaties. Yes, you have the authority to make treaties under the authority of the United States. If the United States doesn't have that authority, meaning the federal government, then you don't have the authority to negotiate that treaty. But it was ratified by the Senate. I don't care. See, there's a very important point here. Does the law mean what it says or not? If the Constitution says that you cannot, that only treaties signed under the authority of the United States are actually law in the United States, then only those under the authority of the United States. Stop playing games. Stop calling things names. If it's illegal, it's illegal. Forget unconstitutional, because if it's unconstitutional, it's illegal. We need to begin focusing on this concept that what is illegal is not to be tolerated in our government. And until we do, there's nothing that stops the president from saying, well, we signed on to this, and no, the Constitution doesn't allow it, but we signed a treaty. So yeah, that means that it's the law. So next time you hear somebody talking about or read an article about the UN attempting to interfere in how the U.S. governs itself, like courts ordering sovereign entities they have no authority over, overseers meddling in our elections, treaties that overrule the rights of parents to direct the upgrading of their children, or pacts that take away your rights. Just remember, the only thing standing between your family and a tyrannical world government is you. It's you. It's the people of the United States, because our presidents ignore the law. Our Congresses ignore the law. Our courts ignore the law. It's up to you. If your president ignores the law, then it's up to you to get your representatives to impeach him. If the court ignores the law, it's up to you to get your representatives to impeach the judges. And if the Congress won't ignore or begins ignoring the law, or continues ignoring the law, it's up to you to fire them at the very next election. As I'm recording this, it is still before Election Day, and I see nothing in all the advertising. They're talking about, oh, this person's bad and that person's bad. You know what I never hear? What about treaties? 2 years ago, they talked about the judges. Now they're talking about treaties. They don't talk about the bloody Constitution. And I find it infuriating. So I'm going to ask you, are you going to stand up for your rights? Are you going to stand up for the rule of law? Are you going to agree that if it's not legal, we're not standing for it? And don't let some judge or some lawyer weasel their way through to say, oh, well, this says here and this comma there. It's plain and simple. That's why we read the Constitution, so that we understand what it says. That's why we study the Constitution, so that we understand what it means. So that we understand that when the Constitution says treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States means those that only the United States has the authority to enact. It's a concept that is foreign today. It's a radical concept to actually go back to the way it used to be, to the rule of law. And it's sad that we're in this state, but it's not going to change until the American people get off their collected backsides and start demanding that their representatives uphold the law, the true law, the supreme law. And if they won't, then we won't put up with them. So, take a look at that. If you want, you can head over to the website. I've got an article called Another Reason to Be Careful About Treaties. You can follow the link and read the article. But it's important for us to understand that it is we, the people, that formed this union. Yes, it is a compact between the states, but we, the people, in order to form a more perfect union, established this Constitution. We did it through our elected representatives in the states, and it's important that we return control of it to the people of the United States and that we hold our elected officials accountable. Otherwise, the land of the free and the home of the brave will continue down its road to the land of the tyrant and the home of the coward. So I hope you found this interesting. I hope you'll continue to listen. I hope you get engaged. I hope if this is probably going to come out after the election. But I hope you voted based on a person's constitutional position. I hope you will continue to hold your elected representatives at all levels of government, state, federal, and local, accountable. I hope you will engage. I hope you'll join with me in reading and study the Constitution. And I also hope to see you again the next time on the Constitution Study.